I am Sagar and I am an engineer at Frappe working on Frappe Mail. So, and today I am going to show you how you can self-host email with Frappe Mail. So, what is Frappe Mail? Frappe Mail is a mail system deployment tool which comes with an inbuilt mail client, easy to use APIs, and an admin dashboard for managing your domains and accounts. We use a stalwart mail server as the backend, a modern and powerful open source mail server that supports SMTP, IMAP, JMAP out of the box. I'll cover everything you need to know about Frappe Mail and how email system works in general. So what does self-hosting email mean? Instead of relying on services like Gmail or Outlook, you host and manage your own mail server. Emails are staying on your server, not a third-party cloud. This gives you full control over data, security, and policies. Managing a mail server requires setting up SMTP, IMAP, DNS records, spam protection, and ensuring good deliverability. Email providers like Gmail handle everything for you, but self-hosting means you take full responsibility of email security, uptime, and maintenance. In short, you can say self-hosting gives you more control, but also more responsibility at the same time. Why self-host? It gives you full control over data. Emails stay on your server, not a third-party cloud. Means no data tracking or scanning by external providers. Cost saving, no vendor lock-in, no per user subscription fees, avoid price hikes and restrictive terms from providers. Customization and scalability, configure email services to fit your needs, add custom filtering, spam protection, and automation. Security and compliance, set up your own encryption, spam filtering, and security rules, meet GDPR and other compliance standards. Let's see some basics of email infrastructure. SMTP, Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. It used for sending emails between servers, handles communication from client to sender server to receiver server. Then we have IMAP and POP. IMAP stands for Internet Message Access Protocol and POP stands for Post Office Protocol. Both are used to fetch emails from your server to your client. In IMAP, emails stay on the server and sync across multiple devices. In comparison, POP downloads local emails to a local device and deletes them from the server. JMAP, JSON Meta Application Protocol, a modern replacement for SMTP and IMAP using JSON over HTTP, completely replace IMAP and partially replace SMTP. SMTP is used for server-to-server communication in a JMAP environment. A mail is a combination of multiple components, including an SMTP server, IMAP and POP server, and additional tools like spam filtering, reputation, monitoring, and all. SMTP server is also known as MTA, Mail Transfer Agent. Open source options for mail servers are Stalwart, the one we use, and Mox. Open source option for MTA is Postfix, Haraka, and Exim. Docode and Cyrus IMAP for IMAP and POP server. Email journey from sender to inbox. So the client refers to the tool to send email such as Frappe Mail client. It opens an SMTP connection to the sender's mail server, example smtp.frappemail.com. This server is usually a reverse proxy or a load balancer, forwarding requests to one of the connected SMTP servers. Port like 465 and 587 are used for SSL and TLS. Custom ports can also be configured. These SMTP servers together form the mail cluster. The sender server performs an MX mail exchange lookup using a DNS resolver. The DNS server responds with the recipient domain mailbox MX records ranked by priority. The sender server establishes an SMTP connection with the highest priority MX server, which in this case is mxa.example.com. Port 25 is used for this connection as it's the standard for email delivery. The recipient's MX server is also typically a mail cluster, but for simplicity, I am representing it as a single SMTP server. First, it performs checks like DNS blacklist and reverse DNS to filter out the spam senders and bots. Then authentication checks are performed like SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. SPF verifies if the sender's IP is authorized to send emails on behalf of the domain. DKIM ensures the email body has not been altered by validating the cryptographic signature. Then DMARC enforce SPF and DKIM policies to either reject, quarantine, or accept the email. In Frappe mail, we enforce reject policy, meaning no emails failing both SPF and DKIM checks are immediately rejected to prevent email spoofing. Next, policies like maximum recipient limit, maximum message size, custom rules are applied. Next, spam filters analyze the email content and sender reputation. Suspicious emails are either flagged or rejected. Once validated, the email is stored in the recipient's inbox on the mail server. The recipient server fetches the email using IMAP or POP3. IMAP emails remains on the server and sync across multiple devices. POP3 emails are downloaded to a local device and deleted from the server. So what are the challenges of running an email server? Deliverability issues. Email may land in spam or junk folders. Requires proper SPF, DKIM, and DMARC setup. Some ISPs block or throttle self-hosted mail servers. Spam and abuse protection. Need anti-spam filtering like Spam Assassin or RSpamD. Protect against outbound spam by performing a spam check and local sender reputation management. Rate limiting and monitoring are required to avoid blacklisting. Then you may face DNS configuration issues, which requires correct MX, SPF, DKIM, and DMARC records. Reverse DNS must be set for outbound servers in order to deliver email to legitimate email service. Then security risk. So mail servers are frequent target for DDoS attack and brute force attempt. You need TLS encryption and authentication like SMTP auth. Prevent open relays to avoid spammers using your servers. Then reputation management. New or self-hosted mail servers start with a low reputation. Shared hosting IPs may already be blacklisted. You need to warm up IPs and monitor blacklists like Spamhaus and RBL. So how Frappe Mail simplifies self-hosting? Easy deployment, pre-configured setup with essential email components. No need to manually configure SMTP, IMAP, or DNS records. Built-in deliverability tools, automatic SPF, DKIM, DMARC setup. Reputation monitoring and email queue management. Spam and security management. Integrated spam filtering and abuse protection. Supports TLS encryption and authentication. Domain and account management, web-based UI for managing your mail domains, accounts, group, and aliases. Multi-tenant and multi-domain support. Scalable and open source. Designed to scale from small setup to enterprise use. You can expand it vertically or horizontally. Then fully open source, no vendor lock-in. Now I'll show you how you can self-host email with Frappe Mail. A quick demo. And so there are 3 prerequisites. First, you need a site with the mail app installed. I have this site on Frappe Cloud with the mail app installed. Second, you need a domain with DNS access, which is bunniesbakery.in in my case. Third, you need a virtual private cluster or server to deploy the mail server. Additionally, I have added this 2 DNS A records, one for bunniesbakery.in to point to the Frappe Mail site, basically the Frappe Cloud site. Second is mail.bunniesbakery.in to point to the virtual private server or droplet I have. And you can ignore this below 3 DNS record. These are name service record to use the DigitalOcean as my DNS provider. And yeah, I am here using 1 GB 1V DigitalOcean droplet, which is BLR region. So yeah, so before proceeding, we'll perform two lookups on this IP address. First is spam house to make sure this IP is not in the spam house blacklist. So those who don't know, spam house is a popular blacklist tool, widely used. Like it's free actually. Yeah, for some reason this is not loading. Yeah, we can do with this MX toolbox. So there are multiple blacklists you need to like keep in the keep in sync. So suppose you have hundreds of IPs, so that definitely might be a CIDR block or something. So you need to make sure these IPs are not in the blacklist. So as you can see, this IP is like pretty much looks clean. So these are open, open blacklist. Might be possible this IP is blocked in Outlook or Gmail. So I'm ignoring the spam house check because it's not opening. And second check is we'll do with this reverse IP lookup. So whenever you want to send an email to any legitimate service like Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo, so they will check for this PTR lookup, or you can say reverse IP lookup. So here is the IP address of my droplet, which is pointing to mail.bunniesbakery.in. So this is the this should exactly match with the droplet hostname. In DigitalOcean, you can simply set the PTR record by setting up the hostname as the fully qualified domain name of your mail server. Every email service has a different way of doing this. So now I'm going to log into this site. It's visible at the end, right? So I'm going to mail settings. This is also slow. I'll add my domain here. So this domain is useful, required for, you can consider of this root domain name as the domain where you want to run your email service. So Frappe is not a single, a tool to deploy a single email system for a domain, but it gives you a full email service. So my email service will run on this domain. Second, I'm going to use DigitalOcean as my DNS provider. So what this is going to do is, so suppose you add a new server to your cluster, then it will update your DNS records, right? So you don't need to manually add DNS records whenever you add a server or maybe new domain you add. The DKIM key we created is be stored in this bunniesbakery.in domain only. So for this, this is asking me for a token. So I'll get it from here. By the way, currently we only have support for DigitalOcean. So it's a, an interface. So you can simply add AWS and your preferred DNS provider. Now I'm going to create a cluster. Since we are doing a simple setup with single server, I simply use the hostname as my mail server's hostname. Priority is used for the MX record we have seen in the earlier slides. Password, you can set a custom password also, and if you leave it blank, it will generate a new password. Then you can add your stores as you want. We have multiple stores. Additionally, you can set up this listeners for like on what port you need to run your submission and submissions and all. So now a cluster is a group of servers, right? So now I can create a mail server inside it. You can also click this if you only want a outbound server. Again, since we are doing a simple setup, I'll adding server source name directly here. This I don't have a TLS certificate right now, so also generating one via the ECMI provider. Now saving this document will generate a mail server config. So this is the configuration file required for setting up the stalwart mail server. So now I'm going to SSH into my mail server. Currently, this step is manual. Like you need to log into your server, then install it via the installation script, which will soon be automated via Ansible. So now so Stalwart has this config toml thing, a file where configuration is stored for Stalwart mail server. I'm going to remove that file. Now we'll update that file with this one generated by Frappe mail. Restart this service. Make sure it's running. It will take some time to generate TLS certificate. Let's wait for it. Now it's generated. So you can see it's HTTPS. So username is Frappe as we set in the mail cluster doc type document. So this is your Stalwart mail server dashboard. Actually, you don't need this because Frappe mail handles everything. But for just in case, I am like showing you. So if you want to like customize it on a deeper level. Now I'll log into the mail UI. Adding the domain. So this asking me for adding this verification key in my DNS record. So you can either use DNS record doc type or maybe directly add to your DNS provider. For now, I am directly adding to my DNS provider. So this record is basically used for verification, like the domain bunniesbakery.in is owned by me. So this is a generic process. Every domain need to be followed. So after adding the DNS record, you need to wait for like 2-3-5 seconds. Now these are the authentication records we talk about in the previous slides, like DKIM, SPF, and DKIM all. So yeah, so this let me explain this. So this is SPF record. which is including underscore SPF, which is a root SPF record added here, as you can see. So this includes mail.bunniesbakery.in. In short, you can say it allowing mail.bunniesbakery.in to send emails on behalf of this domain. Second is this CNAME record. So this is for DKIM key. So we host the key in the not directly to your domain. Instead, we use a CNAME record to pointing it to a root domain. What do you say? A host of a root domain, a subdomain basically. So this helps us to easily rotate the DKIM keys when needed. User can also rotate it, like from here. You can see rotate DKIM keys. So this is good for good for security point of view. So whenever, in case you think your key is leaked or some maybe a similar thing, so you can simply maybe restore it. Or we also have a job to restore it on every week or month. Third is demarc record. So this is this RUA is telling the receiver server to send demarc demarc report to this address, which is demarc@bunniesbakery.in. So this is common. This will be common for all the domains you add to this mail service. You can say bunniesbakery.in. Okay. Last one is the MX record. This is used for receiving emails. So if this is not set, Frappe mail is not. Frappe mail kya? Like any email service can't accept email if this record is missing or like pointing to a null MX and all. We'll wait for 3-4 seconds before verifying. Yeah, so this domain is verified. Now I can add mailboxes or you can say accounts. So by default, mail account is created for demarc@bunniesbakery.in, which is for receiving demarc reports. So I'll add a team@bunniesbakery.in. Since we don't have a default account set up in Frappe email account, we can't send invite. So I'm unchecking this and adding the user directly. So this is pretty much simple mail client, as you can see in Gmail and all. So you can send email, like compose an email and send. But we are not going to do this. Instead, I'll set up an like show a demo of how multi-tenancy work in Frappe Mail. So what we're going to do is, first we set up a default mail account. Selecting service as Frappe Mail. So this site will be bunniesbakery.in in our case. Maybe this will ask you for API key and secret, right? So you can generate it from here, or you can simply generate it from here also. So these are user keys. So this will do a verification call to bunniesbakery.in to make sure the credentials are valid and the account is active. We'll make it as a default outgoing account. Now let me open a new browser or something. So this will send me an email with the verification code. So this is the mail. Let me put this down. So as you can see, the checks are also passing, like SPF, TKIM and all. So now I can set up my tenant. So suppose Frappe. So now this is my tenant, and as you can see, so this one is the default tenant you get, right? And this one is the tenant I signed up for. So in this case is Frappe. I can simply add a new domain here. So on a single tenant, you can have multi-domain, and you can also have multi-tenants. Similar, the verification record. And yeah, you are on the same page, right? So you can verify this DNS records and simply add your members. So this is like separation of accounts and all with using multi-tenancy at Frappe. So this is the private beta joining link. So you can scan this, and if you are interested, you can fill out this web form. So whenever we are starting private beta, you will get a notification from us. I already saw that, like both this team at bunnyspec.in, right? Okay, yeah, sure. I think simply log into this. So this is the email. You can say the sent email. So there is some issue, like this is not loading. Okay. But yeah, you can send an email from here also. Suppose frappe.io, then do hello. So this is this. Yeah, so thanks. That's it from my end.